Let's see where this team is gonna go in the future. What's up, fans? So this video has two things going on in it. First, I'm going to break down some things that had happened yesterday when it came to somebody coming and working out for the Dolphins, and then them signing somebody. And then I'm going to essentially give the state of the Miami Dolphins. What does that mean? I'm going to see where they're at right now, being that we're on their bye, and then see what the rest of the future holds. So let's start with some news from yesterday. So yesterday, the Dolphins signed Brice Butler. He played for the Dallas Cowboys and the Oakland Raiders. He played for the Oakland Raiders for about 2 years, and then he played for the Dallas Cowboys from 2015 to 2017, and he was with the team beginning of this year, but nothing panned out. So the Dolphins signed him. He's a 6'3" wide receiver. He ran a 4.37. If you look at his stats, you could see that he has a 16-yard average on his catches. He's known as a deep threat, which is good. He's tall and he's relatively fast. So it seems like this team went from having these short, speedy receivers to kind of these tall power receivers, because now Carew is in there. Kenny Stills is in there. Devontae Parker maybe be in there. Now we have Brice Butler. So my thoughts on this guy is, hey, anybody at this point is a good body. I would like to see what he could do. Hopefully he plays the Colts. It's good that we signed him as soon as we can, because he gets like a full practice and a bye to learn the offense and hopefully get on the field and do something. So when it comes to this Brice Butler signing, I am happy about it. And that's why the Malvo cut happened, was to bring in Brice Butler. Then another fun fact that was brought to my attention was that the Dolphins worked out Paxton Lynch. Now, when I heard it, I was like, oh boy. They didn't sign him, so it was more of a due diligence type thing. They just brought him in, worked him out, and saw what they had in him, or what could be had in him. I guess this is all depending on if Ryan Tannehill can't go for the rest of the year. They'll probably throw him on IR and maybe try to pick up another quarterback, which then would make you feel that they don't have enough confidence in David Fales, because why wouldn't you play him? But I'm going to talk more about that when it comes to the rest of this video. But I just wanted to give you guys the news of yesterday, which essentially is the signing of Brice Butler and Paxton Lynch coming and working out, but not signing. So let's get into the state of the Miami Dolphins. So we are in our bye week. It is the second to last bye week. So it's a good bye week, and it's a much needed bye week for this Dolphins team, because we are completely decimated with injuries. We have a ton of players on IR, and at this point it's like, well, who do they have to play for us, and who could potentially help us win? But with the bye week coming, hopefully some of these banged up, not IR'd, injured players can come back for the Colts game. Most importantly, the quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, hopefully he can come back for the Colts game. And then there is a potential with Albert Wilson coming back, but I haven't heard anything about that. So what we're at now is we're a 5-5 team. We are second place on the AFC East, and we are the 8th seed. So if you look at it, the Tennessee Titans are 5-4. The Bengals are 5-4, and they're above us. So kind of want the Titans to lose. So we were actually rooting for the Colts next week, because then we go to the 7th seed, and then we would like the Bengals to lose again, because then we'd be tied for that 8th seed. But then there's where that tiebreaker and there's where that Bengals game came into play, because if we would have won it, then sitting in a bye, watching two teams lose, we'd automatically be the 6th seed and in the playoffs. So a lot of fans and a lot of people are down on this team, which I don't blame you guys, because I'm also down on this team. The injuries are too much, I feel, for this Dolphin team to do anything with. So say they do make the playoffs, I do think that even then it's like, but you never know, because all of a sudden these unknowns and these second tier guys could band together and win it all. Not with this team. So let me get into some of the things that the Dolphins are going through right now on their bye and the state that this team is in right now. So quarterback, we got Brock Osweiler, we got Ryan Tannehill, we got David Fales. At this point, we don't know what Ryan Tannehill is doing. We don't know how he's doing. He threw a little bit at the beginning of this week. It didn't hurt, but he wasn't throwing hard and not a lot of velocity, so we don't know if he'll play again this year, and we won't know if at least he'll be back for the Colts game. Then we got Brock Osweiler. For 2 games, played well. The Bears game, everyone was like, Brocktober. Brock's better than Ryan Tannehill. Brock, yeah. Then we had the Lions game where they're like, hey, Brock didn't play too bad. Better than Ryan Tannehill. Glad we have him. Screw Ryan Tannehill. Then we had the Texans game where they're like, hey, well, he tried. And he threw a touchdown. Look at that touchdown he threw to Amendola. Tannehill can't throw that. And then we had the Jets game where they're like, God damn it, Brock. We can't score with this dude. And then we had the Packers game where everyone's like, he sucks. It was just this like shot up Bears game, and then it was a steady boo. That's the state of quarterbacks. And then we have David Fales just sitting there. He is there was like a saying or a motto when it came to NFL quarterbacks, is that everyone loves the backup. Everyone loves the backup, and being that the backup, everyone loved him, and now everyone's off that boat, they now love the backup to the backup, which is David Fales. I'd like to see David Fales play, personally. If Ryan Tannehill can't go against the Colts, I've said this time and time again, I would like to see David Fales play against the Colts and not Brock Osweiler. You have a whole bye to get David Fales prepared to take on the Colts and play with the starters. So I would like to see David Fales play against the Colts, if not Ryan Tannehill. So that's the state of the quarterbacks. Now let me give you the state of this defense. Preferably the run defense. So Armando Salguero put out an article where he broke down what the hell is wrong with this run defense. And after reading and looking at the tape, holy shit. So it's not necessarily what the problem with the run defense is, not the play calling. It's the execution. And the culprit, or culprits, is Raekwon McMillan and TJ McDonald. Raekwon McMillan is playing very badly. Like, very badly. Where this guy cannot decide which hole to hit, and then he ends up turning himself around, and he's getting completely manhandled. And that's what the problem is with this run defense, and that seems to be what the problem is with the defense at some points, is that it's not about the play calling, it's about the execution, and it's about the manhandling. So say Burke calls, I've said this before, but say Burke calls the best run defense or the best pass defense, and it's like you use this with the Rams, you use this with the Saints, you use this with all these good defenses, and it shut it down. But we have a bunch of guys out there who just aren't playing good. Now, you can lump Kiko in there. Kiko does have his plays where he plays lost, but I've noticed that he is making up for McMillan's lapse of judgment and his non-knowledge, I guess you can say. Because McMillan is doing bad. But then there's also times where TJ McDonald would hit the wrong hole, or TJ McDonald would get physically manhandled, or TJ McDonald would get pushed over, take a bad angle. And then also the defensive tackles are not getting the pressure that we needed, and that's why the defensive ends aren't getting the rush that we needed. So yes, the defensive coordinator takes the blame, because hey, these guys should know this. This is your job to make sure that these guys know this stuff. But on the other hand, there's only so many times you can hit a nail with a hammer before the nail breaks. I never heard that analogy anywhere. I just made it up, but I like it. So give this a thumbs up if you like that analogy. I literally just made it up. And if you heard it before, I didn't, so I made it up. You can't say I didn't, or you can. So that's where it comes with the defense. Now I'm going to talk about coaching. And when it comes to coaching, we have what I just broke down with the defense. Offense, which essentially is Adam Gase, is just inept. It's anemic. It's been 9 quarters since the Dolphins have scored a touchdown. Could that be intertwined with the injuries? Could that be intertwined with losing Albert Wilson, who was one of our biggest scorers, because that dude can break tackles like no one's business? Is that intertwined with the offensive line injuries? Is that intertwined with the quarterback play? Or is that intertwined with him trying to outsmart the other quarterback and then in turn outsmarting himself? You see where I'm getting at? So when it comes to the offense, it's hard to tell. But the one thing I will say about Adam Gase, now I rip on Adam Gase when I'm watching the Dolphin games, when it's like 3rd and 15 and then he runs the ball. If I know why he's doing it, like if there's like 15 seconds left and he's like, screw it, we'll go up by 4, let's just kick the field goal, let's just get close enough to get into, you know, make the field goal more manageable, then I'm like, all right, you know, it's not, I'm not going to kill him for it. But like if you run a bubble screen and it doesn't work and then you run a bubble screen again, that's when I get mad. Or when you like call plays that are just completely outlandish, like a 4th and 1 or a 3rd and 1, and then like you just don't QB sneak it. But then you could also flip it, because if the defense is stacking the line, right? It's 3rd and 1 and the defense is completely crowding the line to stop this run, and you know for a fact your offensive line is hot garbage, you're going to roll your quarterback out and try to drop it off. But the only problem is your quarterback is a baby giraffe right now. You don't have Ryan Tannehill, who can roll out, who is good at the rollout and throwing on the run or run it himself. So you have to think about it in that aspect, where Adam Gase is playing with a bunch of backups. Adam Gase is calling plays for a quarterback that he literally has to take his playbook and cut it in half, because Brock Osweiler can't do the rollouts, can't do the options, can't do those types of things. And that's where all of a sudden this offense becomes extremely one-dimensional. Because there was a ton of plays against the Packers, and there's a few against the Texans. Every loss we've seen with Brock Osweiler, I've noticed that there was plays where he would hand it off to Gore or Drake. And if it was Ryan Tannehill, he would keep it. And he would at least get 15 yards on a run to the outside. And if not, then all of a sudden he would let... You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm getting at? Because the fact that the defense doesn't have to worry about that, they just go right after the running back. And that's where Adam Gase's playbook gets cut in half. Coaching on the offense is not good. I'm not going to give him like a, hey, you know, it is what it is. No. You're an offensive guru. You're a quarterback guru. You need to show you're a guru. But then a lot of these dink and dunk plays, I'm seeing a lot of people like throw 4 yards, but it has to do with the quarterback reading the defense, the quarterback reading his wide receivers, because there's been games where I've seen Brock Osweiler on the 3rd and 15 drop it off to Kenyon Drake or drop it off to Danny Amendola for 5 yards, and I've seen Jakeem Grant wide open running that. You know what I'm saying? So you can't knock Gase when his quarterback is making poor choices. There's the offense. Special teams, Dan Rizzi is just, I love Dan Rizzi. I think the man is hilarious. I love his passion. The way he's reacting on the field sometimes is me reacting watching the game. Our special teams is playing great. Sanders is playing great. I'm not going to say anything else. The punter's gotten better. There was one game where he was shanking punts, but then other than that, against the Jets, we kept pinning them. So special teams is just playing fantastic to me. So when it comes to the future of this team, when it comes to the rest of the season, the last 6 games, this team needs to win 4 more games. 4 more games to make this season not a shit fest. So 4 more games. Who could those 4 games be? They could be 2 against Buffalo. It could be 1 against the Colts. It could be against the Jags. And then a lot of times we can beat the Patriots home. And then you got the Vikings, who got their asses whipped by the Bills. So I'm not saying that they're going to win out and go 11-5. I'm not saying they're going to go 10-6. I'm not saying they're going to go 9-7. I'm not saying they're going 8-8. I'm not saying anything. But when you look at the rest of the schedule, it's not as crazy as it was when we first looked at it when the season started. So to say that the season's a wash, that we suck, that we're going nowhere, that we should just tank, drives me nuts. I will never root for this team to tank, because you don't know who you're getting when it comes to drafts. I've said this in another video, and I'll just reiterate it real quick. Look at these great teams. Look at the Patriots, look at the Packers, look at the Steelers, look at all these good teams that have drafted from 20s down or up, depending on how you see the draft going. Whatever. They're 20s to 31, 32, they're drafting. And they're always getting players. They're always getting stud players. They're always getting those great players. So it doesn't matter where you pick. It matters who you pick, and it matters your scouting process. So when it comes to this team, when it comes to their future, play hard and see what we can do. See where we can go. And when it comes to firing of coaches right now, the only coaches I could see going, or the only coaches changing that I'd like to see happen after the season's over, regardless of where we end up, I would like to see Adam Gase hand over offensive play callings. I'd like to keep him as the head coach. I kind of like what he's doing when it comes to head coaching, but I'd like to see him hand off the offensive play calling. You can help, you can say like, hey, what about this, this and that, but focus on coaching, you know, focus on the game. I'd like to see a new defensive coordinator come in. I'd like to see someone more experienced, someone that will get rid of the wide nine. When it comes to off-season moves and stuff, I'm gonna do that video at another time. I just wanted to give you guys my thought process on the bye, where the Dolphins are at, where I think the Dolphins could go, and all that great stuff. Comment below if I missed anything that you guys want me to address. Comment below. I always like chatting with you guys below. Let me know what you guys think of them bringing in Bryce Butler. Let me know what you guys think about what I said about the rest of the season, about the quarterbacks, about the run defense, how bad it is, and about the coaching. Comment below. Speaking of comments, I'm going to get to your comment of the day. And this one comes from, this is a hard name to say, Nabokov Fan 87. I hope I said your name right. If I didn't, I apologize. He says, do you think the training staff physical regime for the players under this staff plays a key role in injuries? Are players and or the staff just not doing things they need to, not stretching completely, not working all the muscles that they're using during the game? Or are the injuries simply bad luck / brittle players? What's with this season? I really like this question, and I wanted to get that in this video. And my answer to you is, some of these injuries are, like, I would say a very few amount of these injuries are because of that, or because of wear and tear on the season. But I think the major injuries, I think the injuries that knocked major players out and knocked players out that we needed were just bad luck. The Albert Wilson injury, he literally caught the ball, was running, got tripped up, wanted to continue to run because he had at least 20 yards in front of him until someone was there, planted his foot to keep running, and just jacked his hip up. It had nothing to do with training, it had nothing to do with stretching, it had nothing to do with conditioning, it had to do with he planted wrong and popped his hip up. The Jakeem Grant one, it's an Achilles injury, it was bothering him, it happens, but he's still there. I'm not even going to talk about Devontae Parker, because if someone farts on him, he's out for the season with a ruptured nasal passage. The Sitton and the Kilgore injury, they're offensive linemen, and to tear your bicep and to, you know, hurt your upper body, it's just, sometimes it's a fluke injury of just blocking, and it happens. It sucks, but it happens. The William Hayes injury was bullshit, not on Hayes, but on the reason why he had to do it. That also was just fluky and unlucky that he swung his leg around to try to not crush their car into the ground, get a penalty, and he hurt himself. Let me know what you think. Thank you for the question. Speaking of questions, I normally tell you to follow me on Twitter, which is going to pop up right here. My next video, which is coming out Saturday, is a Q&A video for the bye week. If you want your question to get answered, and if you want your question to get in the video, hit me up on Twitter or comment below asking me a question with a hashtag AskDougley, or below ask me a question, but put hashtag AskDougley so I know you're asking me a question for Saturday's video. And I will pick your question and I'll answer it in the video, or and you will get in the video. So be sure to either below or on Twitter ask me questions. Follow my second channel, The Bit Boys. We put out video games every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I really appreciate it if you guys went over there, checked it out. If you like that stuff, if you like video games, go over, check it out. If you think we're funny and entertaining, just subscribe, share it. Help us out a lot if you share it. A lot of you guys are going over there and subscribing, so we do appreciate that. Hope you guys like what you're seeing. Give this video a thumbs up because I don't think the season's over. Will it be hard for the rest of the way? Yes. Will they make the playoffs? Probably not, but it's going to be fun to watch, and hopefully we win some games we're not supposed to, and hopefully we get above an 8-8 record. If we can get above an 8-8 record, I'll be happy. So hit that thumbs up for that. Subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Yes, this is a Dolphin channel. Yes, I love my Miami Dolphins, but I'm also a football channel. Like yesterday, I put my picks video out, so I'd like to talk about all the teams and all the transactions that are happening. So I will be doing that in free agency. When that comes rolling around, I'll talk about everyone and every little thing. Maybe I'll do a thing where I break down each division and see where they're at and what they're doing. Let me know if you guys like to see that. But other than that, I will see you guys on Saturday with the Q&A video. Like I said, don't forget to ask me questions below and ask me questions on Twitter. You can get in the video and I'll answer them. Like usual, guys, stay classy and fins up. Before our picks and before I tell you who we are picking to win to lose and all that shiznit, there's some news and notes for the Dolphins. They're on their bye. Thank the Lord in heaven. I would have liked them to go into their bye, 1, without any more injuries. That didn't happen. 2, with a victory.